The Dior Backstage Eye Palette 004, that is Rosewood Neutrals, launched for summer 2020, was one of my birthday gifts from my mother this year, this April. April 14th was my birthday. The other product was the Armani New Nude Foundation, which I showed you. We'll link that in the description box below. So this one is the Backstage Eye Palette. Now, I already bought the Amber Neutrals for last Boxing Day. That is 003. And at the time I had no idea that my mom was going to gift me 004. Now they look very alike here. Now I've obviously been playing around with these two. So yeah, untouched photograph here for comparison. You can see that the colors look similar. Let's see if they actually are. External packaging looks like this. And the packaging of the palette itself, I don't really like. Now, I'm not going to say there is no mirror. I know that a lot of reviewers complain that there's no mirror in palettes such as this one. Yeah, get a mirror if you have to. But the problem is when you go traveling, what do you do? And secondly, there are some of us who like to apply our eyeshadow like this, you know. That's why, you know, I feel that all palettes should come with a mirror. The second thing is that transparent base looks a bit cheap. The Mercury Retrograde palette from Huda Beauty did the same thing, you know, that transparent pan area, and it has a bit of a cheap feel to it, in my opinion. Just an opinion. So, on the other hand, the pans are nothing to scoff at. They're gorgeous, and you have Dior embossed on them. Unfortunately, the embossing obviously goes away when you dip a brush a few times. There are shades where there is no embossing as well. Promises professional performance, multi-finish, high pigment. This contains prime, shade, highlight and line. Now there are 9 eyeshadows per palette. The Backstage series from Dior is a series of makeup products that are used by Dior makeup artists for their runway shows, you know, backstage, behind the scenes for runway shows. The eyeshadow palettes contain 9 pans. The first one, top corner, top right corner, or top left if you look at it this way, is always a primer. I don't like this, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, it is alongside the other powder products. So this one's cream and everything else is powder. Bad idea, that huge mess at hand. And also, having used the primer from the Amber Neutrals palette, I wasn't happy. It was way too thick and difficult to blend out. It sort of dried on my oily lids. I have oily lids. It's very rare to find an eye primer that actually goes dry on me. This one did. I didn't like the primer. Apart from a primer, it also contains a bronze highlighter. Both palettes, that is, that's something in common for the inner corners. And then you have a mix of metal, matte and shimmer shades. Now, Rosewood Neutrals, obviously, rosy pink to burgundy plum. Right up my alley. Amber Neutrals, on the other hand, was more orange, amber orange to ruddy copper. Also up my alley, actually. Now, as you can see, these eyeshadows do have shade names at the back. So, yeah, you'll have to flip over to find out what shade name you're using each time. The shades' names are not printed anywhere near the pan, which is fine by me. I mean, I'm not too asked about shade names. What's in a name? And those are the shade names for the Amber Neutrals palette. So you can see that they, you know, the highlighter, the bronze highlight is common to both. And so is that awful primer. Apart from that, nothing is common to both. So, you know what, let's swatch and compare the two. Are there similar shades? What is the difference? Are there shades within each palette that are similar? Are there shades between these two that are similar? What is the pigmentation like? Let's find out. So this is the Rosewood Neutrals palette 004. That one is that creamy primer. This one is described as a matte nude. This one is a bronze highlighter. This one is described as a metal magenta. This one is described as a matte rose. This one is described as a matte wood. This one is described as a burgundy shimmer. This one is described as a matte dark plum. And this one is described as a matte purple brown. In my opinion, these two are a bit similar. Hang on. Yeah, I would say that these two are quite similar. Matte dark plum, matte purple brown. The others are all quite different. So these two are my favorite shades in this palette. And that is Amber Neutral 003, the creamy primer, the bronze highlighter, the ombre sculpting powder. This is described as a shimmery orange. I call it more peach than orange. This is a shimmery red copper. This is a shimmery sienna. This is described as a matte red. This is described as a matte brick. Sorry, gonna put my brush in there. And this is described as a matte smoky brown. Now let me just compare the two for you. So obviously the primer, the creamy primer, more or less the same thing. And then there's the bronze highlighter. Yeah, that's this one over here and this one over here. Very similar. So yeah, bronze highlighter and creamy primer, more or less the same. This one is slightly cooler, the primer. This one is slightly warmer, the primer. Apart from that, there aren't any similar shades, apart from the bronze highlighter in both the palettes. Now formula. This is very, very close to K-Beauty eyeshadows. That slurry, poured formula, That's how I feel about these. They're not the, Lorac formula or Urban Decay formula. This is more K-Beauty. I like that formula because it gives you some very, very soft, subtle look. Soft. I do wish more brands would do that because, when you have that kind of formula, even if the colors are bold, you can actually pull them off because the effect that they give you is quite soft. None of these eyeshadows is dry to the touch. Both palettes. They feel very soft to the touch. Nice, buttery formula to the touch. And the result is quite soft and subtle. Wear time, no problem. I didn't need cut crease canvas or some kind of major primer or glitter glue to make these pop. I just went in with my usual base. And yeah, this is the let me do an eye makeup look for you and then we'll see. Yeah. So the thing is, I'm going to use just the 3 eyeshadows for this eye makeup look because I want to show you that these are very non-finicky. So I'm going to go in with 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, this one, 4 base. Yeah, so 4 all over base, inner corners, first part of eyelids, crease and outer corners. Off we go. So this one goes all over the lids. This is for the crease. And this one is on the lids. Inner corners, lower lash line, and I'm going to go and do the other eye. So that's a look. This combination of colors, this kind of eye makeup look is right up my alley. It is something that I would wear all the time. That's another makeup look that I did with this palette using dark plum on the crease and outer 1/3, wood as a transition, and bronze on the inner corners. This palette is apt for the spring and the summer, matches those cherry blossoms behind me. The amber neutrals was more, amber, fall. The rosewood, definitely spring, summer, cherry blossoms, and pink and plummy burgundy. Very, very nice. This year, you know, hopefully we're all wearing masks whenever we go out. So, you know, eye makeup look, that's where all the drama is. And this is the sort of palette that I really like for this kind of, you know, dramatic but soft, you know, not in your face looks. And yeah, I think it looks good with a mask, if I say so myself. Now, I find that I'm able to get about 3 looks from this palette. Maybe other people will be able to get more, but for me, you know, there are 3 looks that I can get with this palette. Now, this palette costs £39 and was launched for summer 2020 by Dior. Where to buy? Shipping worldwide available. I will link in the description box below. I don't mind the Amber Neutral. I really liked the Amber Neutrals palette actually, but then this one came along and blew this out of the water. That's all, that's all. So those are my thoughts on the Dior Backstage palette. Do you have a Dior Backstage palette? Do you think that these look interesting or not? Which is the last eyeshadow palette that you bought? Do tell me that in the comments below. I'm quite interested in another product from Dior, you know, a bronzer that they launched, but then I have too many bronzers. And, you know, I end up reaching for Guerlain Terracotta all the time. And that is my go-to bronzer. So it would be a waste. And I'm not really in a place where I feel like buying makeup, you know, right now. By the way, has anybody seen Urban Decay Ultraviolet? I mean, have you seen the pictures? What are your thoughts on this? I adore my purple and violet eyeshadows, but you know, I'm not sure that I can live with that turquoise blue in there. It's kind of pastel pale. At the same time, it's not a color that I can pull off. So I'm kind of on the fence. I may buy it simply because I'm completely off my mind with, you know, worrying about the situation, and because I haven't bought a palette in ages and ages. So yeah, I may buy it. I don't know. It's just that one color puts me off so much. What are your thoughts on the new Urban Decay Naked palette? Do tell me all of that in the comments below. So that's all from me for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please do give me a thumbs up. Please do the subscribe button. Please do ring the notifications bell, and I'll speak to you soon.